Hello and welcome back to all our dear listeners. This is a new episode on the English Learning Podcast channel. I am Emily, your cheerful host, and with me is Mike.
Hi everyone. It's great to have you here with us again.
Today we will discuss how to speak English fluently and confidently. I would like to hear your thoughts about it. Please put your thoughts in the comment. After our discussion, we will explain some words and phrases within sentences so you can use them in your daily conversation. So make sure to watch the video at the end. Before we begin our discussion, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet.
I don't know how you do it. You speak English like it's nothing, and I get nervous every time I have to talk.
Oh, Mike, I get it. English wasn't easy for me at first either, but trust me, with a few techniques and some practice, you'll feel more confident speaking. You already have a solid foundation. It's just about building from there.
Thanks, but I don't even know where to start. Every time I try to talk, I feel like people are judging my grammar or my accent.
Totally normal. Most people feel self-conscious when learning a new language. But think about it this way. People appreciate that you're trying. Honestly, confidence starts with letting go of that fear of mistakes. Everyone makes them.
Easier said than done, Jamie. Do you have any specific tips?
Absolutely. Let's start with something simple. Try to practice a little bit every day. You could start by speaking to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing, what you see, or what you're feeling. It sounds silly, but it helps to get comfortable forming sentences without the pressure of anyone listening.
That sounds like something I could try. Am I just narrating my day or thoughts out loud?
Exactly. Even thinking in English helps, especially if you do it regularly. Once you feel a bit more comfortable with that, start with small conversations, maybe ordering coffee in English or greeting someone briefly. It'll help with building confidence step by step.
I've tried speaking a bit with people who speak English, but sometimes I can't find the right words, and I end up using a lot of fillers like and you know. It's so frustrating.
Oh, that's common. Even native speakers use fillers sometimes. Instead of focusing on that, try slowing down your speech a little. Give yourself time to think before you speak. When you pause, it feels more natural, and it gives your brain time to process.
Pausing sounds like a good idea. I always feel like I need to talk quickly to sound fluent, but that usually ends up making me nervous.
Exactly. Slow and steady wins the race. Fluency doesn't mean speaking fast, it means speaking clearly. And here's another tip. Learn some set phrases. These are phrases that people use in daily conversation, like "how's it going?" or "nice to see you." They'll help you sound natural without having to think too much.
Oh, I've heard of that before. Phrases like "I see" or "let me think." Those would come in handy.
Yes, and for conversation, you could even plan out some things you might say in advance. Like, if you know you're going to ask for directions, practice the phrases beforehand. It takes away some of the stress, so you can focus more on understanding the response.
That makes sense. Preparing in advance would help with my confidence. Speaking of which, do you think watching movies or listening to English songs will help?
Absolutely. It's one of the best ways to get used to natural pronunciation and expressions. Watch with subtitles first so that you can follow along. Then, if you feel comfortable, try switching the subtitles off. You'll train your ear to pick up common phrases. Plus, it's more fun than just drilling grammar.
I like that idea. I'll start with something simple, maybe a series with easy dialogues, and then I'll try repeating lines to improve my accent.
That's a great approach. Repeating lines is called shadowing. It helps to get your pronunciation closer to a native sound, and it builds confidence because you get used to how English sounds and flows.
Shadowing. I'll remember that. But what about vocabulary? Sometimes I struggle because I don't know enough words.
For vocabulary, keep it practical. Learn words and phrases you're likely to use, rather than focusing on unusual or advanced words. I recommend using flashcards. They're a good way to review vocabulary without it feeling overwhelming. You could keep a small notebook with you to jot down words you hear that you want to remember.
I like the flashcard idea. I'll try to carry some with me. And a notebook would help too. But do you think people will notice my accent? I feel like it's so obvious that English isn't my first language.
Your accent is part of who you are, Mike, and it's not a flaw. As long as people understand you, that's what matters. Plus, accents can be charming. They add character to your voice. Focus on clear pronunciation, and don't worry so much about sounding like a native.
Thanks for saying that, Emily. I guess I've been a bit hard on myself about it.
You're doing great, Mike. And here's one last tip. Practice with a friend or language partner. Having someone you trust to practice with can make a big difference. You can correct each other, share new phrases, and build confidence in a low-pressure setting.
That's a good idea. Maybe we could practice together sometime? It would help to have someone who understands the language better.
I'd love that. We could meet up, have these little conversations in English, or even do some role-play scenarios. Maybe pretend we're in a restaurant or asking for help at a store.
That sounds fun, and I think it would help me get over my nerves. Thanks, Emily. You've given me so many ideas. I feel way more motivated now.
You're welcome. Just remember, it's a journey. Celebrate each step, even the small ones. In no time, you'll see how much progress you're making.
Thanks, Emily. I'm excited to start practicing. I'll let you know how it goes.
Can't wait to hear about it. You've got this, Mike. All right, now let's look at some important words from what we've discussed so far. The first word is nervous. Nervous is an adjective, and it means worried and anxious. For example, I was too nervous to speak English. The second word is pretend. Pretend is a verb, and it means to behave as if something is true when you know that it is not, especially to deceive people or as a game. For example, he pretended that he didn't mind, but I knew that he did. The third word is confidence. Confidence is a noun, and it means the quality of being certain of your abilities or of having trust in people, plans, or the future. For example, he has the confidence to walk into a room of strangers and immediately start a conversation. The fourth word is self-conscious. Self-conscious is an adjective, and it means nervous or uncomfortable because you are worried about what people think about you or your actions. For example, he looked uncomfortable, like a self-conscious adolescent. Now the phrases. The first phrase is, "How's your family?" "How's your family?" is a polite way to ask about someone's family members, showing interest in their well-being. It's often used as a friendly conversation starter or to show care and concern, especially if someone knows the person's family personally or knows the person well enough to ask. For example, "Hey Sarah, how's your family doing these days?" The second phrase is, "What have you been up to lately?" "What have you been up to lately?" is a casual way of asking someone what they've been doing recently. It's a way to catch up and find out if they've had any interesting activities, changes, or events. For example, "Hey, it's been ages. What have you been up to lately?" The third phrase is, "What's new with you?" "What's new with you?" is a casual way to ask if someone has any recent news or updates about their life. It's often used to start a conversation and show interest in what's happening with them. For example, "It's been a while. What's new with you?" The fourth phrase is, "How has your day been so far?" "How has your day been so far?" is a friendly question asking someone how their day has been up to the current moment. It shows interest in how things have been going for them and can lead to them sharing experiences or updates. For example, imagine you're texting a friend in the afternoon. "Hey, how has your day been so far?" This lets your friend know you're interested in how their day is going, giving them a chance to share anything good, challenging, or interesting that's happened so far. We hope you found this useful and learned something new. If you have any topics you want to know about, please let us know in the comments. Your idea might be in our next episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Before you go, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel.